Pep Guardiola's Manchester City loses another game. But are we really surprised about this? 6 losses in the league. And I think that's the highest he has ever found himself at the back end of, or maybe in 2017. But something is not looking good for this Pep Guardiola team. Something is not making sense with this team. When we look at how they're playing, the way they're approaching the games, it just feels like they're lacking so much. So Aston Villa didn't really have to even get out of the second gear to get a victory against Man City. I'm talking about the champions of the England right now. Something is missing from this team, and we all can see it. It's clear. They just don't have an identity that we are used to seeing from them. They are playing like a team that is still trying to find if they can fit into any game. Every single game that we are now going into, we are expecting them to be beaten. Something that we can never put into words or even try to articulate or try to put next to a Pep Guardiola as a man, as a guy that we have not come to know him as a manager. Something that he has never seen. He is at this moment looks like the second greatest manager in the Premier League, because Sir Alex Ferguson never suffered to this extent. Something is missing. Something is really missing. And every single time we find ourselves with so many questions which need answers, and we just cannot see it from this Manchester City team, because they are not playing like the team we're used to seeing. They are not performing at a level that we know them to be, to what they can do, what they can achieve, what they can go to. They are not showing it. Duram should have scored in the first whistle. If it wasn't because of the goalkeeper, this could have been a different game. We have to say it. The second goalkeeper of Manchester City is the reason why this result does not look as humiliating as it was supposed to look. And at some point, I felt like Aston Villa were not really trying that much. Like I'm saying, they did not even have to go out of first gear to even get something out of this game. Something is missing from Pep Guardiola's team. And we are seeing it time and time again, asking questions after questions. Can they get to that level? Can they become the team we are used to seeing? Can they find themselves in this situation, or they are gonna keep flowing, going down and going down and going down, because they are not performing at the level we are used to seeing? They are not being the team that we want to see them do, and it is a worry. For anyone who's watching this team, it is a worry, because this is not what we're used to seeing from them. This is not the team that Pep Guardiola has been working on, that has been doing some amazing stuff, because now questions has to be asked. Do you think that it's time for Pep Guardiola to walk out of management? Maybe all his styles have been figured out, or maybe he cannot get the guest time, or maybe the true opposite of that is true. The team is no longer at Pep Guardiola's level. They can no longer do what Pep is expecting them to do. And rather than to actually accept that this team has lost that, why can't you play maybe to bring back the team so that they can play and not give so much of a highlight? Because it was so easy, very easy for Aston Villa to take advantage of that backside of Pep Guardiola's City, take advantage of the spaces that they were opening from the back, and they had them. Ortega was the reason why this game was not embarrassing. Ortega was the only reason why this game was not embarrassing. John Stones was in the game, came out. I think that's another injury. Akanji moved in and he fought, but still it's not enough. In the midfield, Jack Grealish was running, was enjoying to maybe entertain the crowd, but he was offering nothing. There was now any tangible thing of what they were creating going forward. I always say this: when a team find themselves in a situation which they are failing to score, and yet they are conceding easily, that's the end of it. That's where suffering begins. That's when the team find themselves in trouble. And that's where the Manchester City or the Pep Guardiola City is at the moment. They cannot find themselves. They cannot even perform to the level we expect them to do. And that, for me, is a worry. Looking at what they can do and where they can go, this has to be a worry, because they're not giving us what we are expecting from them. This is a big team. I cannot go into the game expecting Manchester City not to be favorite of games. It has never happened. For the past, I don't know how long, decade, this team has been their team. And we thought time and time again, after maybe now this was a week break, we could see a different Manchester City from what we saw against United, the team that capitulated and lost the game, or the team that we saw against Tottenham Hotspurs, or the team that we saw against, you can go back to any game that you want to go back from behind, or even against Juventus. The team that we are seeing is still the same. The same mistakes that they're making, we are still seeing it. What we are expecting them to improve on, they still give us nothing that we can hold on to. It must be frustrating to be a City supporter right now. It must be frustrating. And the funny part is this, Michael Owen called it in the summer. I don't know, he was looking at the age of the players, he was looking at how they were playing, and he was like, this team is going to suffer. And so many people made fun of him. They laughed at him when he mentioned those words. Yet here we are, 12 games played, and only one win, 2 draws, I think, or 1 draw. This is not the City we are used to seeing. And I wonder, when would this come to an end? Because what is the actual problem? Is it Pep Guardiola? Tactics have been found out. It's easy for teams to get to get over the tactics of what City offers in the game. Or maybe secondly, is the players who no longer have the energy to continue doing what Pep Guardiola is asking them to do. It could be that. We are seeing it with Andy Robertson with Liverpool. The legs no longer give him that. Ilkay Gundogan, we've talked about it. The legs are gone, but they don't have anyone to put on. Because guess what? If you are from the youngsters who look like you have the talent, you either have been sold or have been taken elsewhere. You're no longer in the City squad. And that's where my worry is. That's where the problem is. How do they improve from that? How do they become a better team from that? Those are questions we need answers from. And as things stands right now, as clear as daylight as we see it, there are no any answers that are coming from this City or from this Pep Guardiola team. I hope they improve in the next game. What is their other games that are coming? Because what we are seeing from this team is now a problem. Let us all be honest, it is now a problem because they need to improve. And I'm curious to see the teams that are coming after this. They're going to play Everton on Thursday. Then they play Leicester City on 29th of December. Do you think that they can win those games? It's hard to call it now because we don't know what to get from Pep Guardiola's team. We can't predict if he can or his team can put a performance in which we can actually say, oh, it looks like they're coming back, because they're not offering that. They're not offering us that. We don't have belief in it. And maybe it's time, and it could be wise for Pep Guardiola to walk away from this. Or maybe wait, try to do some signings in January and try to see where they can find themselves. I remember Klopp having those problems with Liverpool, and I think we fought the last games to find ourselves in the top 5, and that's when we ended up in the Europa League last year. Don't you think that Pep Guardiola has to really sit down and be humble and try to do the things he never expected his champions to do? Because what the champions are offering us now, it's a shadow of an image of who they used to be. It is a problem. So I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. What do you think Pep Guardiola need to do? How do they find themselves? Because this is a shadow of Manchester City as a club. This is a club in a crisis. Defensively, they cannot handle it. Midfield-wise, they cannot stop teams, and they cannot build in because the strikers keep losing the balls easily, and those balls are being hit on the other side. Like the vid, subscribe, share with anyone who's interested, and let me know where you're watching us from. This is the Football Connect. I'm your host, Sam, and we are out. We'll be back with another reaction. We're out. Peace. Subscribe to the Connect.